Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage. This is ETNA, special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center on every industry that matters to you. Tonight, we're bringing you a two-part special on a panel discussion we did as part of a 20-city roadshow that we do on Leaders of Tomorrow. And look at some of the highlights coming out of a panel discussion that we did on the theme I for Innovate, Innovation and Disruption for MSMEs. Take a look. We kick the evening off with opening remarks from V Vaidyanathan. He's the founder and executive chairman of Capital Fest.
People tend to think GST is coming. So many people ask us, "Ab GST aa gaya. Abhi, what will happen to portfolio? What will happen to small entrepreneurs?" Again, the good news is that no matter what the teething troubles of change are, I can see the government being sensitive to the issues and talking sensitively, saying, yes, we understand there's an issue. Don't worry, we'll come out with a package. So that sort of sensitivity is being shown. But when you see concerns, I always think to myself that, in 2008, there was a global financial crisis. Then 2010, 11, 12, there was a general slowdown in the economy, high interest rate, high inflation. Then 13, there was a rupee crisis. 14, there was election. 16, there was demonetization. 17, there was GST. In India, every year, something is happening all the time. So nothing that we should so worry about the GST has happened, something will it's not happen, it will happen. Things will settle over a period of time. So therefore, when we think of India and the GST, we can think of many issues. We can say jobs are not growing, investment not happening, banking system. But at the same time, we also know growth is happening, consumption is doing well, passenger car sales are doing well, two-wheeler sales are doing well. The fiscal deficit is broadly fixed, current account deficit is good. So broadly things are okay also. So it is for us to choose to see which side we want to see. So I would not worry too much about the economy growing. These are all parts of the job for RBI to manage, government to manage. You trust the larger ecosystem and you keep moving. They will figure out how to fix the global fiscal deficit and how to fix the GDP. All that they will take care of. You as small entrepreneurs today figure out how you will navigate to the new ecosystem and play the digital wave. That is the source of your success, and that will be the source of your next growth to become leaders of tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much once again for being with us here this evening. We are here at the Orchid Hotel, Mumbai, and I'd like to thank them for the venue, and I'd like to thank each of you for being with us here this evening to talk about innovation. As you do know, we do 20 roadshows across India, and this is the big one that we're doing in the city of Mumbai to talk about innovation. And it's very exciting that we have such a panel with the biggest experts from their industries and fields. So thank you all very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us here this evening. Let me start off, sir, with you, Mr. Desai. And I want to talk about the Global Innovation Index 2017. According to the report, which is put out by INSEAD of Singapore, of course, Cornell University and the World Intellectual Property Organization, they say that India has moved up 6 places to the 60th position amongst 130 countries when it comes to being the most innovative. That's the headline, and that definitely is good news. I want to ask you what in your mind has helped, because we clearly are midway, we're doing well when compared to some of our closest peers.
See, there are brilliant people everywhere, in every country. Our boys and girls, they are ruling the software world in different parts of many countries. Okay. So Indian boys and girls have certainly exciting ideas, fantastic ideas. If with confidence, self-confidence, they come forward and chase their dreams, I think support is available everywhere. They have to find out a way and the approach to the source, and certainly these dreams will be realized. Now, innovations, there are people who are thinking out of box. Recently, a young student in our government dental college approached me, a past student, and he said he has made an agreement with manufacturer of dental raw material, that artificial dental material, or ceramics, which is being imported all through the years, now will be manufactured here in India by him with the license now obtained from the original manufacturer. So this is an innovative idea. And here we see the seeds of Make in India, which is not being manufactured in India, can be manufactured in India. And if you tackle the idea, the theme of Make in India will be realized. And we have many, many boys and girls. I attend the events in IIT every year and see the brilliant ideas presented by them, their products, their ideas, their services, and they can turn up into good businesses. So innovation, we are not lacking. Innovation is there.
Okay, that's a good note to start on. And I want to talk about one of the things you were talking about. You said innovation is there, but what's it going to take? And let me come to you on that, Sunita. Yes, there is enough innovation happening, but there are a lot of things which innovators need, which is what we're debating this evening. I want to pick up on one of those contentious but crucial contentious, because we have our title sponsor with us this evening, and I want to talk about finance. The role of finance when it comes to innovation, how crucial is it? Because you are someone who looks at innovators and entrepreneurs across the board. What do you hear from them?
Yeah, thanks, Sunanda. So first I want to just pick up on the point that Sir made. Absolutely, there are a lot of innovators here in this country. But I think if you go back and look at how the Global Innovation Index is assessed, there are input points and there are output points. And the fact of the matter is that in the past 25 years, there's been a lot of R&D investment from MNCs into India, and there are 2 or 3 critical things that have started to happen which were not happening, and that's obviously building up some talent. There is we're doing global products and not just products for India. We are also doing some components of global products. So as an example, the mission critical systems for Dreamliner 787, 2 of them were built here in India by small companies. So I think those are all factors that are affecting innovation. But when we look at the small and medium enterprises, and I think that's the focus of today's conversation, one of the things that we find is that there is just too much stress as far as funding goes. And when you talk of funding for innovation, see, we're not talking of one kind of funding here. When it comes to SMEs, they need capital investment, they need operating funds, and then you're talking about innovation, right? And innovation from the point of view of Make in India, definitely means technology and product innovation. And there, the cost of capital is much too high. And there are choices that SMEs make on a daily basis, and that choice is the last choice, right? Because it's long term.
Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Salunke. Is investment into innovation and R&D the only way innovation can be done?
See, first of all, let me clarify. I have not seen last 15, 20 years the agency from the government of India or any state government has taken initiative to empower SMEs for innovation. Because SMEs are tied up with the daily issues. They are facing a lot of problem. Another very interesting is how they will put money or investment for particularly for innovation, because they are not getting proper finance from the banks, particularly whatever the 9 lakh crore mentioned by him. But till now, SMEs, 72% SMEs are struggling for funding for their daily business requirements, number one. How many SMEs in India putting more trust on the innovation? First of all, they are looking their quality development. But how they will put more efforts on the innovation, that is the most interesting. Another very interesting thing, now our SME entrepreneurs should aware, because Make in India initiative by the government, Make in Maharashtra government, this is a threat to my entrepreneurs. They are the foreign companies coming with the abundant capital, advanced technology, ready-made market, good governance, best management system. Now they are coming with that, how you are going to survive in it. So you have to adapt the new concept for innovation. You have to transform your product. You have to develop your product. Then only it is possible. Banks are there. Mr. Vaidyanathan said, banks are lying with abundant funding with them. They are ready. Even yesterday I met the governor of RBI and I asked how many banks are completed the target for a priority sector.
Sure.
So the point is, we have to focus on the innovation. Without that, SME will not survive in future.
Okay, I'll come back to the thread of finance, but I want to focus on the broader theme of innovation for this evening. And let me come to you, Kausalya. It's always fascinating to have women on the panel. Pardon my bias. Kausalya, I understand when you took your idea to the board of M&M, you pitch to them saying, this is the specific subset of truck owners, of business owners I'm looking at. This is the specific subset that I think will work. This, at that point, when you pitched the idea, I understand, was not really a market that existed. It's a fairly new concept. How did you know that this was something that was going to work?
Like a lot of panelists mentioned, a lot of industries have worked in India very much in the background, very quietly. So logistics is one such industry. It is the backbone of India. 63% of all goods in India moves through road. We have a high dependence on road being a primary form of movement, and that doesn't look like it's changing in the near future. Yet logistics has always been a very long forgotten, necessary to have, but an industry that a lot of people don't get into. And the good thing about logistics is that transporters and fleet owners are actually SMEs. They are small and medium enterprises. They are entrepreneurs who are trying to make a living in that space through the logistics network. And when we presented to the Mahindra board, one of the things that we realized is that a lot of people do certain things in an industry saying this is what we should do and we should stop our involvement to this stage. But we said that, you sell a vehicle to an entrepreneur who wants to be in the transport business, and your role doesn't end. You need to look at what you can do beyond selling him the vehicle. You need to sell him the livelihood. You need to enable the livelihood. And that was a very big motivator for my team and I, that it's not enough to give an SME even funding. Sometimes an SME needs beyond funding. They need mentorship, they need assistance, they need to make sure that they remain competitive. With big global giants coming in, sometimes you forget that you have to continue to stay ahead to be relevant. So we presented this in this form and nature to the Mahindra board. There was tons of data that we collected about how transport as a sector has been impacted, and small commercial vehicle owners traditionally have been the most ignored bunch of people in the network. And MSMEs, very few people would walk across to you and say, how do you solve your logistics needs? It's a given that you have to deal with all the unnecessary haggles of it. So it was pretty easy to convince the board that in order for any company of scale and nature to survive selling trucks, you also need to be a part of that ecosystem and enable that.
Time for a break here on that panel discussion on innovation. Much more on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're continuing to bring you the highlights of a panel discussion we did right here in Mumbai on innovation. Take a look.
Sushant, let me come to you. I understand that India has moved 73 spots to the 26th rank in the World Bank's list of electricity accessibility as far as 2017 is concerned. For someone who looks at this space, for someone who's so closely involved in this space, India as a country still doesn't have electricity in most of its villages. So was innovation in this space inevitable?
I think innovation in this space is absolutely inevitable. I have a friend who works in rural electrification in Ladakh. And he says when he went to the local distribution company to see if he could get the villages he was looking at electrified, the distribution company told him that these villages don't exist on their maps. Right? That's how far electrification as a 100% concept for the last mile in India is. And so what this guy is doing is he's setting up village by village solar plants which power the village. I mean, people who have in Ladakh and Leh never seen a bulb go off, right? Who are excited by the prospect of nighttime not being the time to sleep. Seems like the only way this will happen in the near future. You can wait for the grid, but you've already waited for it for more than a century. So private innovation through small entrepreneurs who are willing to work with business models that have not been tested, willing to be part of industries which don't exist and where the bigger players aren't interested. That's the only way a lot of these problems, which aren't anyone else's problems but the last mile, get solved. Electricity in particular.
Sure. Shreyans and Jeetu, let me come to the two of you. Both of you as entrepreneurs working in very, very innovative models, in very innovative segments of the market. Very briefly, if both of you can talk to our audiences here tonight about where the germ of the idea came about, where you thought that, yes, this is an idea which is marketable.
When we started with a very simple idea that, one of my colleagues from kid didn't have place to play. So we started with a very simple idea that we wanted kids to play. Then basically we leased out a ground, made a decent ground where it was safe for kids to play. We leased a ground, and then eventually in about a year we got about kids started coming, and they were we had a subscription model then. In about a year the real estate price went up and our business model went down the drain within a year. Then, in order to, we were focused on building something around sports. So we went around trying multiple models. We tried doing summer camps. We tried apartment complexes. We tried academies, multiple things for about 4 or 5 years. None of them actually, went on to scale we desired. And eventually, after a lot of trying to innovate multiple ideas and failing at multiple businesses, we were able to successfully get traction in 2 areas. Just as budding entrepreneurs, the important lesson there is failure is a part of innovation journey, and it is very critical that you are able to adapt to it, both in terms of financially and also psychologically. You have the necessary group to support you. That was one, and also, coming up with the right business model sometimes take time. So innovation will take time. It will require a lot of persistence, patience, to get to the right business model. Coming back to the journey, we looked at the school sports, and we found that most of the schools were focused sports as an extracurricular activity, and it was not all inclusive. And we said, okay, instead of extracurricular activity and focusing only on the team, sports should be for all. It should be all inclusive. And it should be treated like any other subject. So that's how we created our own curriculum and also built on the assessment and built the technology piece, and we were able to scale that idea, which we call as EduSports now, across 800 schools in India. So that was the first traction that we got. The second idea was around, we went to corporates and we said that, okay, corporates have the money, we followed the money in our struggle during the 4 years. We thought that companies have the money and they will want their employees to play. We found that HR budgets were very low, and then we tried sales promotion budgets that were also very low. Then eventually we stumbled upon the idea of using grassroots sports for the brands, and we created that entire service for the brands, and which allowed us to scale. And we now are able to service about 40 to 50 brands over a year, every year. So these were the 2 businesses which found traction in our journeys.
This is Shreyans Bhandari here from Green Soul. And we run a unique social enterprise where we recycle your old shoes into slippers and then we donate them to children in need. So I'm an athlete, and as a runner, I used to throw away 3 to 4 pairs of old shoes, which just used to go in dustbins. So that's where I got the idea that I can recycle my own old shoes, make it into slippers, and then wear it as a second use. And to my surprise, I researched and found that about 35 crore pairs of shoes go in landfills each year, while about 1.5 billion people, which is the population of India, doesn't have a pair of footwear. So we connect these two social issues through a product where old shoes are being recycled and donated to children in need. So it was a very basic idea, a hobby that we started with, but today we have donated about 52,000 pairs to children in need in 350 schools, which has improved attendance by 30% and also saved 2.5 lakh thousand of carbon emissions. So yeah, that's about it.
Let me at this point open it up for any questions from the audience.
Now see, this subject is very interesting about innovation, but the impression I carry that I don't understand that Indian, the standard of Indian innovation ability seems to be pretty low down the rung compared to global standards.
But I think you have you're making a good point. There was some research that was done a few years ago, 4-5 years ago, by a London Business School professor, and they looked at people who are leading innovation in the West, and they looked at the heads of R&D organizations that are putting out new products, and to their surprise, they found that more often than not, these were headed by people from India, people of Indian origin. Now, one would imagine that these were people who were educated, Indians who were educated overseas, and that's how they got to be where they were. But again, surprisingly, they found that a lot of these people were educated in India. So it's not that Indians cannot innovate. I think there's something else that is at play here. There is an environment in which you innovate. There is a culture in which which promotes innovation.
That concludes part 1 of the highlights of a panel discussion that we did here in Mumbai on innovation. If you have any feedback for us, do write in at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. On social media, tweet at me at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET now. You can also reach us on our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow and ET Now, or call us on that number you see on your screen. We love hearing from you. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.